I'm Luke. Today on Out of Darts, we are checking out a brand new product for Out of Darts. So do know that this is a product video. Just wanted to warn you up front. This is the 29-round Tachi magazine. Let's get going. I've been running this Nerf mod shop and 3D printing business for about 5.5 years now, and about 3 years of those have been full-time. I love doing this, and one of my ultimate goals has been to get into injection molding. Now, 3D printing is amazing. You can make some incredible pieces of mod parts and accessories and blasters, and I love all of that, but it doesn't scale very well, and there are some designs that just are not printable. My buddy Eli approached me about 8 months ago with a magazine design that he wanted to execute on, and I jumped at the opportunity to work with him on it. Magazines have been out for a while. We started with the Tachi Mags, of course, then we were given the standard Talons. We made bumpers for our Talons to extend their capacity, and we got the Talon 18s. We also have the slanted Talons, but ultimately short darts have really become the core of this hobby. And more is always better, in my opinion, so this magazine is a culmination of more. And that's really about it. There's not a whole lot else to say really specifically. It's sort of a Magpul style styling. We've got Eli Wu's nice logo on the side here and Out of Darts on the other. The designer Eli is a good friend of mine in the Nerf world, and for those of you who don't know him, you should definitely watch the video down in the description. He did a blaster, it's got to be almost 5 years ago or so, that's called Hex, and it was a 6 flywheel, 3-stage, all brushless Rayven, and it was a bonkers mod at the time. I mean, not even just a little crazy, it was over the top. Highest performing blaster for a flywheeler that I had ever seen, and I think that it existed in the flywheel category. So his work is pretty legendary, and I'm really excited to have got to work with him on this project. I hope that this magazine will be one of many future injection molded products on the shop. Injection molding is the way to manufacture a lot of products, especially when you're talking something this large. This literally wouldn't fit on a print bed, and the print orientation, such as some of the designs by Ton, my buddy, he's done some magazine designs which are great, but they just don't print that well, and they require a lot of print time and a large print bed, and they're ultimately not as strong as an injection molded counterpart. This blaster is compatible with most blasters that are Talon Mag, such as this Talon Claw. Talon Claw is one of my favorites, and that hits hard. This is my of course, my blaster, my Talon Claw from SilverFox Industries. Shout out to Ryan and Jesse. They do awesome work if you're looking for 3D printed blasters. Can't recommend them highly enough because we're going to get more into 3D printed blasters in our own shop, but it's taken some time to kind of ramp that side of things up. It also does work in the Lynx. This is my other new favorite blaster. Depending on when this video posts, you may not have seen it yet. It, of course, works in a Nexus Pro. We think that's going to be one of the most common uses. While the magazine is large, in actual gameplay, I really don't find it gets in the way. Now, this could be different depending on your playstyle. If you like to go prone and get down on your belly, you might find that you bump this in. But if you're just kneeling or standing, I never have a problem with this getting in my way. I'm also going to be working on a Tri-Mag connector to put 3 of these together. I think that will be a pretty substantial loadout where you can have essentially 100 rounds, nearly 100 rounds on a single blaster. I guess if I could actually do math, it's 87, but that's still a pretty substantial load for not having any carry. Ultimately, while this is a Talon Magwell style, it is slightly different. The feed lips are actually a little bit more like the Adventure Force Pro line, and the reason I love that is that you can top load them. Now, loading preference is different for everybody. Some people like to do the method where you hold the darts down and slide in from the front. And this is actually essential in a magazine like a Talon, because the Talon, the hole up top is actually too small, the slot, to actually get them in this way. This allows you to do either, but I like the press down from the top method. It's pretty easy, and it's much quicker to do in the field just by feel. Though if you have practiced more, you can do it either way. The mags are compatible with the Kestrel from Timmy, though I did have some issues working with the Hummingbird. And I'm not entirely sure, it's just the magwell design and the catch are slightly different, so it didn't want to behave quite properly. Not entirely sure why that is, but since it is a less common blaster, we didn't design around it specifically, since it does work with all the major adapters, worker adapters, You can throw it in a Strife with an adapter. You can throw it in a Nexus Pro, the Dart Zone Pro, and it should work with the upcoming Striker Pro as well, since that magwell will be identical. We recently built a Lepus in-house here, and a really funky little blaster, kind of as minimal as you could possibly make a blaster. Unfortunately, the design of the feed lip here is not wide enough up at the top like the Talon magwell, so it will not actually hold and retain the magazine. Kind of fun fact about the Lepus, when you put this in here, it's not the retention tab. There's a little tiny retention tab. That's actually not what's keeping the magazine in there. What's keeping the magazine in there is the little bit of flex on these little feed lips here. They actually sort of compress and then expand at the top so they actually fit properly. Really cool little blaster. Unfortunately, it just doesn't function perfectly with this. We very frequently get comments in YouTube or emails saying, why don't you just injection mold your blasters? And it really comes down to scale. The shop has only recently been large enough where we feel like we can move enough product to warrant getting a mold made. Anytime you're going to get an injection mold made, you have a large upfront cost of tooling. That's to make the actual metal CNC'd mold to produce your item. And that has a large upfront cost that's got to be paid back over the life of the lifespan of the product and selling the product. So we finally hit that point where the volume of things have gone up, and we feel like we can do more of this. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed a look at this magazine. I hope this is just one of many future injection molded products. I have dozens of designs in process and in my head, or concepts, but we of course have to be really careful that we don't do something exactly like Worker, because Worker can do it cheaper than we're ever going to be able to do it. I would love to hear other things you'd like to see us make that don't exist already. If you leave them down in the comments, we're going to consider that free advice, so just keep that in mind too. Until next time, I'm not out of darts, but I'm still out of darts.